The greatest winter sport wasn't always a sport. Surprisingly, skis were invented far before you would think. The oldest known skis date back to around 8,000 and 7,000 BCE and were used for transport, hunting, and war. Skiing has come a long way since then. There are so many things in modern day skiing that take a lot of time and experience to pick up on. Today, I want to tell you about one of the most important things to be fluent in when you're on the ski mountain. I'd like to tell you about skiing lingo and how important it is when on the mountain. I would also like to tell you about the tension between skiers and snowboarders and what the reason behind that is. Skiing has evolved so much. It is hard for beginners to pick up on so many things and be able to perform well without experience. New tricks, lingo, and apparel are always springing up. I would like to start by introducing you to some skiing terms and what they mean. The first word is butter. The butter trick is shown on the screen. Although it may not look very difficult, this simple trick is quite difficult to learn. It takes a lot of practice to perfect. A butter is simply when you are either on the front or back tips of your skis. Specifically, if you are on your front end, it is considered a nose butter, and if you're on the back tips, it is called the tail butter. The next word you might hear on the ski hill is a bomber or bombing. A bomber is someone that likes to go in the position shown on the screen and make it to the bottom of the hill as fast as they can. This technique of skiing is often frowned upon because you aren't getting any turns in, which defeats the purpose for many people. However, everyone has their own preferences and can ski how they want. The next term shown on the screen is something you will most likely hear quite often on the ski hill. This word is park rat. A park rat is someone who spends almost all of their time on the ski mountain in the park. Park rats love to grind rails and perform unique tricks and take a lot of time in the park to perfect. Park rats have the stereotype of being kind of hippies who don't do anything all day but go to the ski park. They are also typically on the younger side of the age gap. Park rats tend to dress a little different. They like to wear super baggy clothes like shown in the picture. Another word used often on the ski mountain is carving. Carving is when you use the edges of your skis to turn. People try to get as low as possible to get the best carves when doing this. Not everyone likes to carve, but it is a really satisfying feeling when you figure it out. Another very popular word on the ski mountain is the word booter or kicker. These words basically mean the same thing, and that is a larger jump. People like to catch a lot of air on these jumps, and for those who are more advanced, will try things like backflips or tricks that are even more challenging. Steeze is the next term and can be used for many different circumstances. Typically, steeze is when something looks good. For example, if you are dressed in a particular way or have gear that looks cool, people might say you have steeze. A more common use of the word is when doing tricks. If someone performs well in the park or anywhere on the mountain, people might say you have steeze. It is basically looking smooth while skiing. The opposite of steeze is the word jerry. A jerry is someone who is clueless on the ski hill. Oftentimes, if you look like you don't know what you're doing, and you will be called a jerry. Typically, beginners are called jerrys because they don't really know what they're doing yet. The last thing that I want to talk about is very common on ski hills, and that is the tension between skiers and snowboarders. There's not much reasoning behind the tension between skiers and snowboarders, but it has always been a thing and probably always will be. No one really cares that much and ever is going to make a problem out of anything because it is really based on everyone's personal preference. Skiers' reasoning for not liking snowboarders is because snowboarders scrape the snow off the surface when sliding down the mountain. Although this might annoy some people, there isn't much you can really do about it. Now, snowboarders' reasons for not liking skiers is because when skiers are skiing down the slope, you kind of create moguls. Snowboarders typically don't like moguls, and this makes some people upset. At the end of the day, everyone is sharing the mountain, and there is no need to be hating on people just because they have different preferences and opinions. Everyone goes to the mountain for different reasons. Some people just love powder and spend their time looking for the best powder spots. Others will spend their time in the park perfecting their tricks. There are many different types of skiing and snowboarding. Everyone has their own preference of what they like to do, and that is what makes skiing so fun. There is always something new to try and new things to learn.